All right, now it's recording. Hey, class. I got Mr. Pham with us today, as promised. He's really great at doing resumes and cover letters and all that good stuff. I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Good morning, Mr. Polara's class. My name is Pham. I am a counselor with Chaffey College, and I'm very excited to teach you all how to build your own resume. Um, Again, I'll leave some of my information down below as we work through this resume here. So if you do have questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me or Mr. Polara for any assistance.
Cool.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead and show them how to build an awesome resume.
Awesome. Okay, so the purpose of a resume is, this will be the employer's first glance of seeing who you are and what you can bring to the table. So making sure your resume is precise and clean is going to be very important. I look at it as the resume is some of your greatest hits, if you think of it in the music term. So if whatever artists you enjoy listening to, if they were to have a greatest hits album, that would kind of be like your resume. So first things first, when you build a resume, you want to build it on a blank Word document, as you see here. There are templates out there that offer resumes that you can plug and play in. I strongly advise against that, simply because as you proceed in your career, a lot of employers will use what's called an applicant tracking system. So back in when Mr. Pilar and I started working at a high school, employers would read our resumes in their hands, but now they have machines that will read the resumes for them. So what they will do is feed your resume through this system, and if you don't have what they're looking for, then you will be automatically rejected. And the thing with using a template is that the system does not know how to break down the different formattings of these templates. So the first things first is just using a blank Word document, as you see here. So the first things first, I'm going to include a header. So in the header here, I'm going to put my name. That's going to be the first part, followed by your location. So some people may put their address, but I'm just going to put the city along and the state that I am from. And then followed by that will be my personal information. So my email and my phone number. Here. So in your resume, you don't want to include any links again. So as you can see here, once I put my email in, it hyperlinked it. So what you can do to remove that is to highlight it and then right click on your mouse, and then you can remove link down here. Okay, so that will be your header. And I don't know where my header is. And there it is.
So it'll show when you print it, but it's not going to show on the resume.
Oh, okay. So that's good to know. So this is my first time using this Word formatting. So Mr. Pilar is going to definitely help and say certain things that I may not be aware of, as you can see there. So the next part,
real quick, the nice thing about this one is all the students will have this when they log into their accounts. So if they don't have Word installed on their actual computer, then they could use the online version is what we're using now. So you will have access to this.
Perfect. So you can go step by step with me through the situation. So the first part of a resume as well is that you want to make it a one full page. So we're going to try to fill up this entire page here, as you're going to see. And many of you may not have work experience, and which is going to be okay. There are going to be some resources that I will share with Mr. Pilar that he will share with you all to add some substance to your resume during this time. So the next part of your resume, back in our day, we used to call this the objective. So the objective was what it is that we were looking for, but this particular term is kind of outdated now. And again, I will provide worksheets to you all on how you can title certain things. So again, I'm just going to call it professional objective just to change it up a bit during that time. And then, so the purpose of what I want to do now is just to get all of the information I can, um, and then work on formatting everything once I'm done with it. It's the same as writing a paper. You just want to put all of your thoughts and ideas down and then go back and then edit and adjust things as you need. So the purpose of this professional objective here is 1 to 3 sentences where you're going to talk about yourself, and what you can kind of bring to the table, summarizing kind of your experiences, your expertise, your knowledge, whatever the case may be. Another thing as you are writing a resume is that you do not want to use I, me, or my in any part of your resume throughout here. The employer will know that this resume is about you, so you do not need to tell them that this is about you at that time as well. So again, this probably may be one of the hardest parts is how can you describe yourself in 1 to 3 sentences, that where you can't really state who you are. So here's going to be my professional objective here, and it also wants to be tailored to the job that you're working at. So, Mr. Pilar, what type of job should we be looking at today?
That's a good question. I guess it'd be entry level, so maybe a fast food or summer job.
Okay. So I'm gonna tailor this to. I want to work at In-N-Out. I enjoy eating their food, and they pay pretty well, considering they're a fast food joint. So I'm gonna tailor everything that I do to In-N-Out. Um, so what my professional objective is that I am a bilingual individual capable of working in a working possess Okay, so here is my professional objective here. So I'm a bilingual individual capable of working in a fast-paced environment, possess great team work ethic, as well as being able to work alone. And I also have effective communication and conflict resolution skills. So again, I'm tailoring this to how it is working inside of an In-N-Out. So if you've ever been to an In-N-Out franchise, you can see, a lot of the things that I'm putting here is kind of relatable to that part there.
Yeah, you could really envision them working. He also put really good. If you remember in the chapter, he called them power words. So this is going to help the computer, the algorithm that Mr. Pham talked about, grab these specific words, so your resume doesn't get kicked. That they'll actually review your resume without it being removed.
Mm-hmm. Another great piece of advice I can provide to you is that whatever job it is that you're looking for, you want to go to that website or however you can get it and look at the job description. And so in their job description, they're going to have these keywords or these power words that Ms. Parlara was referencing to. So you want to try to incorporate some of those words that the employer is putting in their job description inside of your resume. Again, you don't want to put everything because they're going to catch on to that, but you kind of want to use your best judgment to put some of those keywords into there as well. Okay, should we move forward, Mr. Pilar?
Let's do it.
All right. So that's the first section here. So again, I would try to keep it between 1 to 3 sentences. Again, as you can see, nowhere in there did I say I'm a bilingual individual or it's me, but you can still see that I am writing about myself without indicating myself into this part. I know that's going to be one of the hard parts, but I know that you will be able to do it with the assistance of Mr. Pilara and myself.
Quick question. Could you go to maybe file, print, preview to just make sure the header is attached?
Sure. So let's take a look. File, Print.
Yeah, I think it should be that. Yeah, try that. Yeah, it's definitely a little different online, that's for sure.
Okay.
And then,
So our computers are running very slowly because we are doing this over the internet. And then now that all of education is basically online, you can experience some of that. So um, definitely spend some time with your resume. I update my resume all the time, and I have 20 different variations of my resume based on where it is that I want to apply to. So my header is there, so that's a good thing to see.
perfect.
Um, so I have a resume since I'm in counseling. I have a resume for the college setting, and I also have a resume for the high school setting as well. So again, wherever it is that you're going to be applying to, if I wanted to have a resume for, let's say, In and Out, and then I want to also apply to Tilly's, it's going to be a little bit different in those parts, but sometimes still similar. Okay. All right. Next is going to be your education. So, you can structure this however you want to, but this is how I typically structure my resume. So when you're listing anything with a date, you want to do it in what's called reverse chronological order, which means you want to put the most current piece of data followed by the oldest piece of data. Okay. So for myself, my current piece is going to be the University of Laverne. So that's the name of the school, followed by the city and the state that it was in. On the next line, I want to put what degree I got. So I would put Master's of Science, Educational Counseling. And then the year that I received this. So I received this back in the spring of 2018. And then again, I can put my next education, but I'll put this, so in the case of high school, I'm gonna put my high school, Don Lugo, so I have to put the whole name, so Don Antonio Lugo High School, Go Conquistadors.
Would you put your bachelor's degree too, or no?
I would. So I will put anything that can be applicable. I'm putting the high school so that way your students know how to put the high schools down.
Perfect.
Here, so Don Antonio Lugo High School, which is located in Chino. And then what did I receive? High school diploma. And I received this in June of 2004.
Old.
Another thing that you can include in your education is your GPA. So if your GPA was a 3.5 or above, then that's something that you could definitely want to include because it definitely can highlight some of your academic capabilities as well. So I got a 3.67 GPA during my time when I was at Lugo. So that is how this will be done here.
Would you put that for every school attended or just for the high school?
If my GPA was a 3.5 or above, I would put it for every education that I have attended. So again, for my graduate school, my GPA was a 3.97. So I almost had a 4.0 GPA. So again, that definitely shows the employer, again, if I don't have any work experience, it shows them that I have a lot of focus to succeed and excel in my academics, and what I do in my academics can also be relatable to my employment as well. Okay. Any other questions with this part, Mr. Plara?
No, I think that's cool.
Okay. Um, all right, so the next section here, I like to call it skills and expertise. Again, I'll give you a worksheet on different ways you can title this, but for this part here, I'm gonna label it that way. So with this skills and expertise portion, so you wanna have, I would say maybe 8 to 12 bullet points of things that you are knowledgeable in that can also benefit the employer. So again, we're thinking, again, for myself, I'm going to apply it to in and out. So I need to have 8 to 12 skills that can be beneficial to in and out at this time. So I labeled it there. Then over here, I'm just going to go to the bullets and include a bullet point. So the first skill that I want to put is that I'm bilingual. So, and then I'm bilingual in Vietnamese. So if you know a second language, this is going to be very, very critical because you may run into someone that speaks another language, and the language that you speak can be very critical in regards to getting hired as to someone that doesn't speak a second language. Another skill that I possess is team player. So again, working in and out, again, it's all one line, right? The cashiers work along with the cooks, work along with the office. So you have to work well as a team to be able to get to this point. What other skills do you think your students may possess that we can help them out with, Mr. Pilar?
I mean, bilingual, obviously not everybody's bilingual, but that one's a huge one. Team player, maybe strong communication skills.
Ooh, okay. Effective communicator. So you can see these bullet points here. Not very long phrases. I try to keep it between 1 to 2 words, you know, to be able to not make it too long. You want to make it like a shopping list or a grocery list. Effective communicator. What else can we think of here, Mr. Pilar?
For this one, I'm just trying to like envision in and out, and man, that sounds really good right now. But maybe something that would stand out, that when I go there, I always know it's clean. I always know it's great with time. So maybe as far as like time
management.
there you go, there it is.
So I put conflict resolution. So again, sometimes when customers are getting their orders and it may be wrong and they may be upset. So having that conflict resolution. So for yourselves, when you're in high school, if you're playing a sport or an extracurricular activity, you may have some of those conflict resolutions. So you want to recall in your personal experience. So if I'm part of a soccer team, what are some of the things that happen on the soccer field that can also be relatable to in and out? So conflict resolution. So, there can be that part. Time management. If you're an athlete, you have to do a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time. So same thing with in and out. Again, you don't want to spend an hour making someone's hamburger because, time in this case is money.
Question on if they have their like maybe food handling card or something, would you put it in this category or would that go somewhere else?
Yeah, definitely. I will put it here. So food handlers card or whatever it's called, definitely put it there. First aid and CPR is something else I would put there. So that's the skill. Again, you don't know when this will come in handy, but let's say someone is choking on their food in your dining hall and you're the only person that knows how to do, compressions or the Heimlich maneuver and things like that. So that can be very beneficial to someone that doesn't know this stuff. Let's see. I'm going to go with tech savvy. So again, this can pertain to working in the office. Maybe you know how to work certain programs more than somebody else does. So I'm going to put Microsoft Office here. So Microsoft Office entails not only Microsoft Word, but also PowerPoint, Excel. Again, things that can be beneficial to the employer that they know that I know that can help them out to this point. So let's see, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Let's do one more just to make it an even set of bullet points. one last skill, Mr. Pollard, that your students have that can be relatable here.
So we have time management, effective communicator, maybe public speaking. Would that go, or would that kind of go back into something
Yeah.
else?
So instead of that, I'm actually going to put this customer service.
I guess that's a big one.
So, customer service is going to be huge because, again, you're going to be working with people. Some of you may think to yourself, I don't have work experience, but you may have worked with other people before. Working in a classroom, you're working with other people. If you ever done any type of a group project, if you've ever babysat, your siblings or a neighbor or anything like that, that right there is customer service, and it's also working with people. You may not have been paid or have been taxed or done the proper documents for those things, but that is still experience that can be relatable to this part as well. So here we have our laundry list of skills that we have. Again, we want to utilize this space as much as we can. So over here you can see there's a lot of empty space. So I'm going to highlight all of these bullet points, and then I am going to see there should be a columns part here, and I hope that I can find it for you.
That one I'm not sure of because I normally use the desktop version.
Me too. So yeah, same with me. So I'm hoping that there's a columns part here. I think if you have the desktop version, it gives you more options. So that's going to be something that we have an issue with. So let me right click this and see. Okay. So again, I'm going to show you how to build this, and then my recommendation is once you have your resume done, to putting all of your information down, we do have a career center at Chaffey College where you can take this into, and they can help you restructure your resume. So they're going to see this and like, okay, we need to do this part here. Okay.
And you guys all have access to everything Chaffey has to offer because you are Chaffey students.
And absolutely. So you have Chaffey ID numbers. If you don't know what it is, we can help you look that up as well, and make sure that gets taken care of. So I'm just gonna make some minor things since I'm already here. All my spacings are gonna be at 0 for the most part because I just want to utilize all the space that I can. Okay, so we're gonna move on here. So if you just double enter, then it will remove the bullet point. And the next part is gonna be your professional experience. So you have one of two ways of doing this here. So typically the professional experience is by listing all of your work experience, again, in that reverse chronological order. So the most current to the oldest first. And putting down 1 to 3 bullet points of what you did at that job or that experience that can again be relatable to the employer that you're going to be talking or applying to. In this case, I'm going to be aware that some of you may not have professional experience just yet because you're still in high school. So what we're going to do is create themes. 3 themes that we want to highlight and focus with, that can again show the employer what it is that you're doing. So the first theme I want to talk about is customer service. Okay, so we're going to talk about customer service and we're going to go with bullet points. Again, for each theme that you can think of, you want to write these bullet points in this particular format here. What did you do? Followed by how did you do it? Followed by why or the result.
And then how benefit like the company, right? Or you want to keep this to where the company could visualize you doing it at their personal business. Is that correct?
Something like that, okay? So customer service. So again, for each theme, you want to have about 2 to 3 bullet points per theme. So again, that is going to be the first bullet point, just to show you that that's kind of the formula that we kind of go with. So this next part here. So what did I do? How did I do it? And why, or what was the result of that? So, so what did I do? Created spreadsheet of created spreadsheet of savings by inputting data into Microsoft Excel, resulting in a 50% increase of overall savings, whatever the case may be. And again, I know this here isn't really relatable to customer service. So another thing, let's say I'm in ASB at school, and part of my ASB assignment is to try to get students to purchase tickets to a show, right? So market
Prom or something.
Market prom by increasing social media presence, which resulted in an increase of $5,000 in sales. So what this shows me is that, this is what I did. So I marketed the prom by, putting it on social media, which could be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat. The more I market it, which again, increased, the prom sales of $5,000. So again, whatever it is that you can do to show the employer that would be great. Because again, they, In-N-Out has social media. They have the Instagram, they have the Facebook and the Snapchat and all those things. Maybe they don't have someone to work that part. And if they see that, oh, like this person here did that, what can they do for me? And that's what they're going to be thinking of. Okay. Other themes that you can think of, it just depends on what it is that you want. Again, trying to keep it tied to what it is you're going to be applying to.
So again, so the company could say, wow, if they increase prom sales by $5,000 and we're a mom and pop bicycle shop, maybe they could do the same thing so people buy our bicycles or whatever it might be. So the company can actually envision you doing something similar for their business, which is going to make you more valuable, which means they're going to want to hire you for that skill.
Yeah, exactly. So the purpose of all of this here, of this resume, is, does this person benefit our team? And can this person here help us make more money or save us from spending a lot of money? So when your high school hired Mr. Pilar, they looked at that, not in the sense of making money, but they looked at it as, can this person affect the lives of your students positively? And if so, what did he show that he did? So one way that he showed is that he probably had his education from a very reputable school, such as Cal State San Bernardino, and getting his education done there, along with some of his work experience as well. Okay. So again, another theme, whatever it is that you can think of, again, that can be relatable to In-N-Out in this situation, or whatever it is that you're going to be applying to, will be dependent on you. So another theme that I can possibly think of is a team player, in whatever way that I can make this. So again, we're not going to work on building the bullet points, and these bullet points that you can see here for the professional experiences, Probably the hardest part, specifically if, coming up with these technical ways of putting this all together. So I recently worked with a student not too long ago, who just graduated from high school, and he was applying to the Vans shoe store, and he didn't have any work experience. So I was trying to talk to them and see what he did, and he was a soccer player. And I trying to coached him, yourself as a soccer player, were you captain? And he said he was. So, and I tried to help him put in terms of what he did on the soccer field and how that can be relatable to working in Vans. So as a captain or working on the soccer team, I know he had to work with these other individuals for his soccer team to be successful, in this case, make it to the playoffs and eventually winning a championship. So in relatable to the workforce, same thing, if you work for a specific company, they're competing against other companies. So they want you to be a better in and out than the other ones around them, because again, that can increase, you getting a pay raise, and making everyone else on your team look good.
Yeah. And a captain is essentially a manager. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're a captain, you're showing, hey, I was in charge of these 10 other people on the field for soccer in this case, and we're able to do X, Y, and Z. And you could kind of show your leadership skills, or teamwork or team player, communicate, whatever route you want to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely. Um, Another theme that I can think of, um, culinary. So if you have experience working in culinary, cooking, that's just a fancy word for cooking, or a chef. You can do that as well. Again, here, I would say 2 to 3 bullet points, if you can, per term.
And
Okay.
what you're really doing here is you're putting those transferable skills that we talked about in a previous chapter. So it doesn't matter where you go or who you work for, you're always going to be a strong communicator. You're always going to have customer service. You're always going to be tech savvy. You're always going to have these specific traits that you don't lose when you leave the company or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So again, you may be thinking to yourself, I don't have this, and this, but you do have these transferable skills, as Mr. Prolara was mentioning, that can be brought onto other areas. So before Mr. Prolara, became a high school counselor, he got his skills elsewhere, working in retail. Mr. Prolara and I used to work at Circuit City together. I'm pretty sure
Phone
some of you
stories.
don't know that, nor what that business is, at that time, or but some of the skills that he learned when he had started in the workforce can definitely be brought on to now, as a counselor, because I'm sure working there, in retail, it taught him a lot of conflict resolution skills, that he may not know he would have needed to at this time.
This is true.
Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just formatting the document as best as I can to clean it up now. So we have basically everything that we need. It looks like I did fill up the full page, at this point. But again, once we put these parts here, um, to columns, so basically what I want to do is get half of what you see on this list to the other side. So that way it utilizes, much of my paper as best as I can.
What if you go to layout? I mean, we're old and can't figure this out, but
Yeah, I checked. I couldn't see it there. Um, so
okay,
if
we'll
you,
just know it's 5 and 5. It's not 10 down.
mhm. um, so a few things in regards to formatting your margins here. You can keep it as 1 inch, so which is just very standard. If you have more information you wanted to put, you can do 1/2 inch here. Okay, so if I switch to 1/2 inch, you can see how it kind of pushed all my words, um, closer to the edge of the paper. But again, if that was the case, let's say I don't have any more, information to put, so I want to switch it to 1 inch
Yeah,
margins.
and you just have to watch out for that header that will only show right now when you print it or
Correct.
export it as like a PDF or something.
Correct. The next part here, all the spacing, again, I just put 0. We're just gonna put 0 all across the board. So you can see, you know, we're not double spacing anything. Why is this like that? There you go. So we're not, you know, we're utilizing the most of our paper as best as we can, okay? So we have all of our information here. So the next part now is to go back and format it and make it look as professional as possible. So the first thing I like to do is to bold all of my headings. So you can highlight it and hit the bold here. Or what you can do is highlight it and hit Control B, or if you're working on an Apple, it would be Command B as well. So
that just kind of help the eye navigate or grab the specific things they're already looking for, because the companies know roughly what they want already. It's just kind of help them guide to see those things.
yeah, so think of it as a book. You know, each section is a chapter of that book, of your book, and that way it just makes it easier for the reader to see. So I highlighted everything, which is good. Let me see here. I don't know if that would do anything for me. Again, if you have a desktop version, it's going to be much, much better to edit this part here. So you can see some of the things that I'm facing right now, but we can definitely still make this look professional as we move forward. So the next part is the school. The school or the company that you eventually work for. I like to bold the school or the company. And in the bottom lines, I like to italicize it. So, you know, again, you will do it based on your preference. Again, I would again have you be cautious of how much you bold and italicize certain things, because if you bold everything, then it takes away that is an important section.
You're gonna lose it, yeah, or their eyes will lose it.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing here is I'm bolding my first line of the section, and then I am italicizing the following lines from that there. So here, again, I'm gonna bold the customer service, the team player theme, and the culinary theme there. Just, again, to make it easier for my reader, okay? At the next part here, I want to push the city and the state to my, okay, so there is a way where it can do a lot easier, but I'm just hitting the space bar and pushing it all the way to the far right of the page right now. And I want to do it as much as I can before it goes into the next line. So as you can see, I hit it too much and it went down there. I don't want that. So I'm just gonna hit backspace and just have it there. And then same thing with the date as well. So again, this just makes it look a little bit cleaner.
It's not like an empty gap that the eyes will automatically track to.
Exactly. So it just makes it cleaner and more professional. So again, I'm only going to do that with my city and state portions of parts of my resume, along with the dates. So here we go. And that will be basically it. And let's say you're like, Mr. Pilar or Ty, I don't have enough. What other things can I include? Other portions that you can include into your resume are honors and awards. Let's say you receive something while you were in school, or whatever the case may be. So let's say I received the honor roll. So the first things first, I want to list, kind of keep it consistent with what I have there. So with school, so I'm going to put Don, or actually University of Laverne. The award that I received was called Alpha Chi, which meant I was 10%, the top 10% of my class. And when I received it from fall 2016 to fall 2017. there. So I'm gonna take this here and just push it all along this side to show when I received it. And then here again, I'm gonna bold this because it's the business or the school. And then I am going to italicize this here. And as you can see, by doing that, it kind of made the font bigger. So I'm just gonna go back here and just do that and do that. So if you had awards and honors, you can definitely do that. If you got honor roll, perfect attendance. So perfect attendance is really good because it shows that you never miss school. In terms of working, that means you'll never miss work. Hopefully that would be the ideal goal right there.
Yeah, and just try to keep these. I mean, I have amazing students in the class, but try to keep those to that specific job you're applying to. So if it was something amazing but has nothing to do with the job and isn't going to help you perform that job or those tasks, I would most likely leave it off.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Other ways that you can format this here. So your font size can be as big as 12-point font. So right now the font size on this document is 11. So I'm going to guess that if I make this 12-point, it's going to go into the next page. And I don't want that to happen. And you can see that dotted line is showing that I'm going into the next page. Or it can be as small as 10. So I would stay between 10 and 12-point font. Here, if you can see that my 10-point font, it still gives me some space. So again, if I wanted to put more in, I definitely could do that, but I'm gonna keep it at 11 there. And then I'm gonna go back into my header and just adjust certain things. So I want my name to be bigger. I'm gonna bold my name. And I wouldn't go any bigger than 16 font there. And then I'm gonna put all of this onto one line. So Ontario, what you can do is hit Shift and then there's the straight bar there where it's gonna be wherever it is on your computer. So let me see. So now I just have to, I think it's because of this spacing piece. There. So again, here. Again, I want to utilize as much as my space that I have as possible. There. So you can see that it made this again, I don't want that.
And do you recommend them printing their resume on like resume paper, or is regular paper fine? What do you think about that?
Resume paper. So there is actually specific resume paper that you can purchase from your Staples or your office goods store. It is going to be a little bit pricier. I believe I bought a box of resume paper, 100 pieces of paper for about $20. The other cool thing as well is that being a Chafee student, you can utilize our Career Center, and they have resume paper that you can print your resumes on for free. So definitely look into that once you get it all done, and then they can print, I believe, up to 10 copies for you for free.
Wow.
Okay. So again, I just put my header a little bit tighter up there so it looks just a little bit more organized, but if you want it on separate lines, you can do that to utilize some of that space for yourself. And then I made this font with my city where I'm from, along with my contact information.
That's your real email, correct? So if they wanted to email you, they can?
Yes. Yeah, so I put that there. So you're more than welcome to emailing me, and we can schedule appointments online. And that way I can see what you have and we can discuss that into that term. The number that I have there is not my personal number, that is my office number. So do not call that at this moment in time because you won't be reaching anybody anytime soon.
Quick question before we end this. What do you think about cover letters?
Cover letters are great. So cover letters allows you to expand more about yourself as regards than just seeing a bullet point. So it gives you, let's say I want to focus a lot on one bullet point here, and I can use that cover letter to go into that. Some employers may require you to have a cover letter, some employers may not. So it would just depend on what it is um, when you're applying, what they are asking for, and you really want to give them what it is they're asking for. And you can definitely go above and beyond and still provide one of those parts too as well.
Cool.
hmm Another piece of advice is that when you're going into an interview, once they look at your resume and they're like, yeah, we want to interview this person. When you go into an interview, I would recommend having 5 copies of your resume to provide to your interviewer. That's just a standard or practice that I've had. So that way, they may not see it. So having that there for them can be very beneficial. Any
Perfect.
other questions, Mr. Pilara?
Not off the top of my head, but if I do, I'll get a hold of you, or they could get a hold of you directly as well.
hmm
So again, thank you for doing this. I definitely appreciate it,
You're
and I think
welcome.
the class will get a lot out of it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna save this here so your students can see this as a template. That way you can send it out to them and kind of use this as a guideline as well.
Perfect. Yeah, we had a few students last semester get a couple jobs actually using the resume.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's a proven system. So I'm happy to share it.
Yeah, so I appreciate your time. I hope good luck to all of you, the class of 2020 or 29. If you are not graduating this year, then good luck to you as well, and I hope to work with all of you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Fan.
You're welcome. Have a good day.